The film begins with a young man named Mataya who finds himself trapped and scared in a substation. He feels like he's stuck in a maze where every time he goes past exit 8, he ends up back where he started. Every time, he sees a man walking by without saying anything. When Mataya musters up the courage to ask the man for directions and turns around, the man is right behind him, smiling strangely as if he had read his mind. Scared, Mataya runs and notices a sign for exit 0, but the sign above it says exit 8. This strikes him as odd. He tries to find a way out over and over again, but all the doors seem to be fake. He even tries to make an emergency call, but the intercoms don't work, and his phone has no signal. Frustrated, he stops and stares at a picture on the wall of ants trapped in a loop, trying to find their way out, just like him. This confirms his fear that he's stuck in a loop with no escape. As he thinks this, a red liquid starts to leak from the exit 8 sign and drips onto his face. Terrified, he runs backward instead of forward. To his surprise, the exit 0 sign now reads exit 1. He also notices some hints on the board, including one that says, "Pay attention. If you see anything abnormal or changed, immediately run backward. If you don't see any changes, continue toward exit 8. Mataya realizes the red liquid was an abnormality, and by running backward, he advanced from exit 0 to exit 1. This gives him hope. He goes back toward exit 8 and finds no changes, so he continues. When he reaches the exit board, he's shocked to see it has reverted back to exit 0. He understands he made a mistake and that this maze is like a game where one wrong move sends you back to the beginning. He decides to be more careful. He starts taking pictures of everything with his phone to spot any changes. He even takes a picture of the man who keeps walking past. He continues until he reaches the next board, which finally shows exit 1. He realizes his guess was right, there were no changes, and he completed level 1. For level 2, he knows he has to go through the maze again and look for a change. When he takes out his phone to check the pictures, he finds they are all blurred. He understands he has to rely on his mind alone. Just then, he sees the man who usually walks past, standing still. This is the change. He immediately runs backward, and the man starts to chase him, but not by running. Each time Mataya looks back, the man is right behind him. Mataya falls but gets up to find he's at the exit 0 board, which now says exit 2. The man is gone, and he's passed another level. With 2 levels completed, Mataya's confidence grows. As he navigates the maze for the 3rd level, he hears a child crying from a locker. He hesitantly opens it, sees something frightening that's not shown to the audience, and runs backward. He has passed level 3, and the board now shows exit 3. He thinks he only has 5 more levels to go until he can exit the corridor and escape this nightmare. He returns to the maze for the 4th level. This time, he feels like he's being watched. He notices the people in the pictures on the walls are now looking at him. He quickly runs backward, and the board changes to exit 4. He's halfway there and feels both happy and panicked, knowing one mistake could send him back to 0. On his next round, his phone rings, and it's his girlfriend. This strikes him as odd since there's no signal in the maze, and they had just broken up. She tells him he's going to be a father and leaves the decision to him. Mataya is confused and remembers an earlier incident on a train where he wanted to stand up for a crying baby and its mother but couldn't. He wonders how he could take on the responsibility of a child when he was so indecisive. He hangs up the phone, and the board reverts to exit 0. He realizes the call was the abnormality he missed, and now he has to start the game all over again. Frustrated, Mataya screams and sits down. He continues on, but with no motivation. He sees a child, but it turns out not to be an abnormality. The child is also stuck in the maze. He also sees the man in the suit and realizes he's also trapped, not a part of the maze. The film then shows a flashback of the man and the child working as a team. They encountered a woman who didn't want to leave the maze, saying she was tired of her difficult life. Her voice slowly changed and deepened, and the men realized this was an abnormality. They ran backward and reached exit 6. On their next round, the child noticed a change. The door handles were installed strangely. The men ignored him and walked past, and their board reverted to exit 0. The man was devastated, but he grabbed the child's hand and started again. He then saw a staircase leading up and got excited, thinking it was the exit. The child warned him it was an abnormality, but the men ignored him and went up the stairs. He became permanently trapped in the stairs, but the child, by running backward, reached exit 1. The child had been right. The story returns to Mataya, who now partners with the child. He quickly realizes the child is very smart and can spot even the smallest changes. Together, they clear levels 1 and 2. On level 3, the lights flicker, and strange noises are heard. Mataya shines his phone light and sees the man in the suit standing strangely. Frightened, he grabs the child and runs backward, passing the level. He realizes the frightening events were a test. They move on to the next round, and a woman appears. Mataya knows she is an abnormality, but the child starts to cry and moves toward her, as she looks like his mother. Mataya pulls the child back and runs, and they clear another level. Although they are halfway through the game, Mataya feels no joy, only concern for the child. He holds the child's hand and promises to get him back to his mother. On their next round, they see no changes until the child notices that the Exit 8 sign is upside down. It's a small detail, but the child's keen eye spots it, and they run backward, passing level 6. Now, with only 2 levels left, Mataya feels strange emotions. Suddenly, a flash flood appears behind them. The child falls, and Mataya, instead of running forward, goes into the water to save him. Mataya has a vision where he's on a beach with his family, and the child is his son. He realizes being a father is a beautiful feeling, not a burden. He is jolted back to reality, where he and the child are still in the water. He puts the child on the Exit 8 sign to save him, and the current carries him away. The child wakes up alone and finds himself in a ruined place. He runs backward, and the board shows Exit 7. He knows there is only 1 level left. Meanwhile, Mataya also makes it to the final level, level 8. He is not happy, but confused, wondering if it's a victory or a trap. He sees stairs and people going up and feels confused. He walks forward and calls his girlfriend, and his phone has a signal. He thinks he's finally free and tells her he's ready to be a father. He gets on a metro and feels like he's seen all of it before. A baby starts crying, and a man scolds the mother. It's the same scene from his earlier memory. He realizes he's trapped in a loop again. He missed the abnormality and kept going forward instead of backward. The film ends with Mataya stuck in the maze he was trying to escape.